What's going on, all you horror fanatics? We've got another spooky treat for you yet again for the 31 Days of Horror. Tonight, me and my good mate over there, Logan Myers, we're going to talk about 1988's Child's Play.
There's nothing innocent about Child's Play.
That's right. We're going back to our old neighborhood behind us in Chicago. The original film that, kicked off the entire franchise where it got really silly and even lead into the new Chucky series that's on Sci-Fi in the USA. This is the one that kicked it off in the 1980s. My favorite film of the franchise for sure. It's the one that really introduced the character of Andy Barclay, young Alex Vincent in this movie. And Catherine Hicks behind me plays the mom. You may know her from 7-Eleven. The setup, you have Charles Lee Ray, a killer, basically transfers self into this doll, this good guy doll, through voodoo. So, sets up that scene of doing all the voodoo stuff and transfers himself into this doll, a good guy doll. It's really big back in the day, much like Care Bears and a lot of stuff they had
Teddy
out.
Ruxpin, too.
Teddy Ruxpin, exactly. That stuff creeped me out as a kid, but this is kind of a take on that, of a doll coming to life and killing people. And as you can imagine, this is a boy who cries wolf kind of scenario and situation. Things start happening that he can't explain. It's all happening because of Chucky. The adults in the film don't believe him. There's a cop played by Chris Sarandon. Obviously, the mom don't believe him. They're, I'm making it up. It's not really happening until they encounter young Chucky.
That's right. One of the reasons this movie works so well is, like you mentioned, with all the dolls of the time that were really popular, just the realism of it, which made it, really spooky and realistic. This kid, Andy, much like all of us when we were that age, 7, 8 years old, we wanted the new toy. And at the time when we were growing up, Teddy Ruxpin, Cabbage Patch Kids, every kid could imagine bringing home one of these dolls. Well, his mom finally got him one and he was really happy. And go figure, it's a doll that's possessed by a serial killer who, has done this voodoo spell and is basically inhabiting this killer doll. And nobody believes him, like you mentioned, until the deaths start piling up. But initially in the film, Andy is framed for the murders because he's always the one that has Chucky around. All these murders are happening. The babysitter in the opening scene getting pushed out the window. And then it just spirals from there, all these deaths happening. So Andy gets, they want to take Andy away and put him in a psychiatric hospital. And, his mom believes him, but, it's obviously, it's going to be hard to believe that a doll is coming alive. But that's why this movie works so well. And Brad Dourif voicing Chucky, one of the classic iconic, voices. And, Chucky's an iconic horror slasher now. And it all has to do with, Brad Dourif's voice is Chucky, just real sinister, evil. And, he's got that classic sound that is going on all these years later. We've had 7 films and now a TV series. Child's Play is still going strong because of this, Chucky and Brad Dourif's voice.
For sure, that iconic laugh.
Yeah.
Andy, how he's always cussing.
Want to play?
Want to play? Yeah, just always cussing. And
yes, he gets really real evil and starts cussing. And yeah.
Yeah, and the scene that really stood out to me was when the mom's starting to figure it out. She picks him up and the batteries. It doesn't have any batteries in it. So how is the movie by itself? Remember that scared the crap out of me as a kid, the first 2 films, but that scene in particular, just like I would look under my bed and look in the closet. I'm like, Chucky's gonna get me. This movie I probably shouldn't have watched, 3, 4, 5 years old, and really started my hatred for dolls. So yeah, a lot of great scenes in this. Brad Dourif, always fantastic. It was cool seeing him like at the beginning of the film as himself, Charles Lee Ray. Looked like a dude in like a European metal band back then, and being into voodoo and being a killer and transferring his body. Voodoo was very cool, original premise. I got a shout out to Tom Holland here. This is gonna be a Tom Holland 31 Days of Horror. Me and this guy just reviewed Psycho 2 last night, which he wrote, and then we're gonna be talking about Fright Night. Probably Tom Holland's best film. I think it was his first film too, because that came out in 1987, I believe. It's 88. But yeah, he was on a roll during the 80s. Some horror flicks, a lot of original stuff here. Directing's really fantastic. Sets up a creepy ass atmosphere. I love the backdrop of Chicago. Walking down these streets, seeing these apartment buildings, the Brewster Apartments off Diversity Parkway and Pine Grove Avenue. in Chicago. If you guys are ever there, check it out. But yeah, what's really compelling about this movie is young Andy Barclay, Alex Vincent. He's been playing this character for over 30 years. He was a young kid, probably 7, 8 years old. He's a grown man and still playing in the Chucky series. Really set up his career.
Yeah, really great performance, especially from a kid actor. Alex Vincent does a great job as Andy. You can imagine yourself being this little kid and just being completely terrified. Nobody will believe you. What do? You can't get rid of Chucky no matter what you do. You try to get rid of him. You try to pull his head off. You try to shoot him. You try to kill him. He just keeps coming back. And this is where it all started. And to have it set in Chicago, not too far from where we grew up, this one makes Child's Play for me like one of the top horror movies of all time, and one that I love to revisit this time of year. And really happy that they were able to bring it, to the TV screens and continue this story, and bring back Don Mancini, and obviously Tom Holland put his stamp on horror films with Child's Play, Fright Night, and all his movies during the 80s. And this one was, one of his best movies. And, everybody loves Chucky, and Brad Dourif is the man. Love this movie. Love revisiting this movie. Want to pick this one up on 4K Steelbook. I've been picking up a lot of horror movies this year on Steelbook. It's out right now, and it's available on bestbuy.com. So if you guys are fanatics like us, pick up the Steelbook on Best Buy.
Kind of had a grainy look to it back in the 80s, not the best quality, but hey, that's what sets the whole dark atmosphere of it anyways. Really sets a cool backdrop to this film. It's a movie for all horror fans like ourselves. The OG, the original that set up the franchise, and definitely my favorite film of the franchise, and a movie I have to watch every Halloween season. It's spooky as hell, reminds me of being a kid, and it still gets under my skin. So that being said, I'm going to give Tom Holland's Child's Play from 1988 a 4 out of 5 Charles Lee Ray hair pieces.
I'm right there with you. Child's Play is one of the classic horror films. Chucky's an iconic slasher. Love how evil he is, how he throws F-bombs with kids in the room, and how he's still killing all these years later. How many years is it now? Going on, 40 years. We're been with Chucky
30,
for that long. Yeah,
34.
30 some, going on 40. Yeah. So Chucky's going to be around long after, our kids are grown up and their kids. It's going to be a franchise that keeps going. And it's all due to this, awesome performance from Brad Dourif, great directing from Tom Holland, and everybody involved. And Alex Vincent, it's awesome to see him, continue on in the franchise. But with that being said, I am going to give the original 1988 Child's Play a 4 out of 5 Brad Dourif hair pieces.
We want to hear from all you wild ghouls out there. What's your favorite movie in the Child's Play franchise? What do you guys think about the first one, the OG? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to click subscribe. Also, check out these wild boys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Our website, Cinephellas.com, for the latest, greatest TV movie news and reviews, and also all the horror reviews in the month of October for 31 Days of Horror.
We had a great time reviewing Child's Play for the 31 Days of Horror. Stay tuned to this here channel for tons more for this Halloween season. We love reviewing horror films, and we're going to keep these videos coming. So until the next 31 Days of Horror Cinephellas movie review, I'm Uncle Henry Hobgoblin.
And Uncle Logan Lee Ray, signing out till the next horror review for 31 Days of Horror. Cheers!
Cheese!